Hi, my name is Patruni Shastri. I'm your drag artist from Hyderabad, and this is Drag Me to Heaven, a podcast where we talk about faith, spirituality, and drag. So far, we have interviewed some very wonderful drag artists across the world who has come ahead and shared some very valuable information as well as anecdotes about how they navigate faith, how they navigate the idea of conflict, how they navigate identities which they also carry as a queer individual and a queer artist. And this has been a very wonderful set of conversations which I had for the past few days, and I'm super excited to kind of share this with all of you. So if you're new to this particular podcast, I would recommend to kind of go ahead and listen to all the conversations which we had, and I will ensure that you'll get a lot of information, lot of experiences from these drag artists, and which would eventually help you in navigating and juxtapositioning your idea of faith, spirituality, and your identities. If you have any kind of a question, you can always reach out to me at pcscs3 at gmail.com. You can also follow us at Dragwanti as well as SAS number 3 Dancing Feet Instagram handles, and we are very active in Instagram. So, coming back to the podcast, today I have a very special guest with me. They are one of the leading and famous drag kings of India. They have created a different pedagogy of drag in itself, and somebody who brings the idea of full filmy Desi drag king while also kind of chiming into a very real as well as very important conversation about representation, about caste, and about claiming space as an AFAB person, especially in a dominant drag community which is full of drag queens and very limited spaces for drag kings and AFAB performers. So today I have Bloody. They are a drag artist based in Bangalore, who would be kind of coming ahead and talking about some of their nuanced approaches of how they navigate their fate, their Dalit identity, and how exactly they see drag as a medium not only to claim space but also to kind of reflect resilience and reflect space to kind of um, take the conversation forward for drag kings, for AFAB representation within the entire queer context of India. So I'm super excited for this conversation. Without any further ado, let me quickly go ahead and chime in. Bloody Kamina. Hi everyone, my name is Patruni Chidananda Shastri, aka Suffocated Art Specimen, aka SAS, and I'm here to kind of get back to you with another episode of Drag Me to Heaven. This is a space where we talk about drag and faith and how exactly individuals navigate the idea of faith and spirituality while performing drag or as a part of their drag artistry. I have been privileged to interview a lot of drag artists in the past few episodes, so if you haven't caught up with any of them, please go ahead and listen to them. It's available in multiple platforms, including Spotify, YouTube, as well as Amazon, Apple Podcast. Please do share it with your friends as well as families who might be interested in such kind of a content. And you can always write to us at pcacs number 3 at gmail.com, which is my email address, if you have any questions or suggestions. Today I have a very wonderful drag artist with me. I've been kind of stalking them for a while. Their artistry is so incredible that they bring a very nuanced approach to the idea of drag visibility, especially within the drag kings spaces. And they are a drag king from Bangalore. So without any further ado, let me quickly go ahead and welcome Bloody Kamina. How are you doing today?
Hello, hello. So glad to be here. So glad to have this conversation with you, and really looking forward to how this goes. Two topics very close to my heart, and let's see. I'm doing very well, by the way. Thank you. I hope you're doing well too.
Yes, just caught up with the idea of another year ending very soon. So, yeah, and then I feel like, okay, what did I achieve in this entire year? But let's start with the very first question which I had. As you know, people know you, like people know you for your work, and people know you how you're creating the drag, scene, especially drag king scene in Bangalore and across India as well. But to audience who might be kind of coming from a different region altogether, could you please please introduce yourself and share some key beliefs or values of your faith, and how do you see faith in your personal life?
Sure. So, hello everyone. I am Bloody Kamina, your fully filmy Desi drag king. I am actually one of the very few performing drag kings in India. Like you can actually count us on one hand. We are that less in number. And and you know what? I think also probably the only Dalit drag king. I am not sure about this, but maybe. Well, outside drag, I am Nick. I am a AFAB lesbian. Oh, wait. I just realized I'm a AFAB lesbian Dalit drag king. I'm literally a minority within a minority within a minority within a minority. I mean, damn, that's like minority inception. But I'm so glad that we're talking about intersectionality today. And yeah, uh, that's about me. And I'm sure you'll know more in the conversations ahead.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that, Larika Meena, and thank you so much for addressing the idea of caste representation within art as well. I think we, as drag artists, we never kind of uh, look into the idea of how we are placing caste within our practice. I had very wonderful conversation with Selora last week about the same, and thank you so much for addressing. And yes, as per my knowledge as well, I think you are the first Dalit drag king who have come out and kind of share the identity. And could you please also let me know how exactly you started drag and what was your idea of drag to start with? And did your faith or your belief kind of had any role in your drag persona?
Huh. So heavy questions. um, so my drag journey. I started my drag journey 2 years ago, and you know what? This is also the first time when I saw drag. Like 2 years ago was the first time I ever saw drag. So I remember this was in the month of June in 2022. I went to Satrangi Mela and I saw Zeesh, I saw Beyonce and legendary Karma perform there. And man, I was just blown. Like I was mesmerized with their performance. I think that was kind of my drag awakening. And as a child, I've always been a performer. I've always imagined myself as this full Bollywood hero, dancing and romancing with my heroines. I love being on the stage. Like I always was very wild and carefree. But while growing up, no, especially as an AFAB, when I was growing up, when I became a teenager, I think that's when these shackles came into place. I started getting comments like, hey, you can't jiggle your chest like that. You can't dance in a certain way, or you can't behave like a rowdy boy. Don't forget that you're a girl, and so many other things. And I guess somewhere that uh, ended up uh, me hiding my parts. I started suppressing that wild and carefree, and going out there on the stage and doing whatever I want. I kind of started suppressing that. So after watching this performance of Zeesh, Beyonce, and legendary Karma in June, it actually inspired me so much. When I looked at them, the thought was, hey, even I can do this. And then I was like, I used to be that. Like, it inspired me so much that I ended up doing my drag debut within the next 3 months. And by June next year, I was sharing the stage with the same artists who inspired me, the same very queens. So I feel so happy about that. Like, I saw them, and then within a year I was able to perform with them. So um yeah, that's how it began. But I would say Shayantika also played a very big role here. Like, she was the one who gave me that push. She really encouraged me. Okay, go for it, Nick. You should really do this. You should really. You were like this. You have it in you. Just go for it. And that gave me that confidence. And I'm sure you can also relate to this, because you also talk about how your wife is, your support, and she's always been so supportive about your drag and your drag journey. So yeah. And in these 2 years, um, I think I've been fortunate enough to perform at various cities across India, to perform for various kind of audiences. Of course, landmark queer places like Lalit, even performed at the Bollywood Celebrity Hub, Soho House in Bombay. Even did corporate performances at LinkedIn, performed at malls, even performed at streets. So it has been quite a journey. But one of my biggest highlights, I would say, was my performance at Delhi with Violet Chachki. I mean, the RuPaul Drag Race winner Violet Chachki, actually sharing the stage with her. I think that was like, okay, I felt like, okay, I have arrived in the drag scenes. But yeah, over and above all of this, I think drag really, for me, it has it really helped me feel liberated again, like, the child in me which was somewhere suppressing all the things, and was burdened with the shackles. Drag for me has now truly become very liberating. And answering your second part of the question about faith, there is one story that I would like to tell you, and it is kind of associated with the name, Drag King Bloody Kamina. So after one of my performances, few people actually came up to me, and they mentioned that, out of concern, that you're using the word Kamina in your name, and according to them, this name was an appropriation, and it was wrong for me to use the word Kamina, because apparently Kamina was used as a caste slur. So, and again, this is coming from the assumption that I am probably upper caste, I'm a Brahminical person. And that in itself is a discrimination, isn't it? So, also the fact that I think they couldn't fathom that a Dalit person could be looking like me, dressing like me, and also occupying the places where I was performing. So for me, it became even more important to reclaim the word Kamina and own it with pride. So the word Kamina was used to demean us, the lower caste. It was used to put us down, like lowest of the low. No one could have ever imagined one of us as a king. So when I use the word Kamina to imagine how empowering that feels. So even the word bloody ties in ties into how caste is passed down through bloodlines, right? So somebody who they would call Kamina by blood is now a king, and I'm proudly ruling the stage. So I think that's how faith has played a role in a big way in helping me accept my identity with so much pride, and you know own it proudly on the stage. In fact, a testament to how empowering drag is. So Dalits are denied entry to the heaven. They are not permitted to the heaven, right? But right now, I'm present on this show called Drag Me to Heaven because of my drag. Isn't that interesting?
Thank you so much for sharing it, and also it's powerful. It's powerful to kind of uh, re challenge the ideas and notions, and how exactly caste can be very invisibilized in its own nature is what you have also shared. How people want to see it in a certain way, and something which is not in that certain way is often been kind of not associated with, as you said, people would
Yeah.
presume or assume your caste by just how you present is something which is very troubling. And somewhere or the other way, you also said how exactly the 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 shift of power is, especially as an artist. And I think that is the biggest boon altogether. I have seen tons of artists who has used the language of art to kind of sustainably change this idea of power, and give a very kind of a, smack back reply to the society time and time again. Like, your name itself is something which is a testament for that. You say Bloody Kamina, you're just giving out, saying that, okay, you have always oppressed me, but I'm giving back to you, and I am the one who's the king. So you are doing a very fantabulous job in there. And definitely our idea is also to create a heaven which is for everybody, and everybody sitting on each other's lap. That is the entire idea of heaven which I want to create. So
Love it.
but so thank you so much for sharing it. Now, my question is, like, were there any kind of a conflict conflict with your faith or with your belief, as in when you were growing up, and did this conflict amplify or kind of uh, get down when you started performing drag? Like, were there any spaces of conflict which you kind of had to navigate in order to perform drag, or how you perform drag?
Hmm. So, no, I think actually it's quite the opposite. So, drag actually helped me resolve the conflict I felt with my caste identity. So, today I'm carrying the name Bloody Kamina and everything that it represents with pride. But that wasn't the case always, like, especially when I was growing up. So, I spent majority of my childhood in a Dalit Buddhist colony, right, where everyone, all the families were Buddhist Dalit families. And um, with this, living with this community, or even with my family, the kind of stories that I heard from them, about the atrocious oppression that people from my caste went through, and all the sufferings that they went through. In fact, there's this one time when my mom um, uh, faced this very closely, and in fact, recently I think she narrated this story to me. My mom used to be a school teacher. She's just retired now. And during the recess, she was having tiffin with other teachers. And she, like a nice human, she just offered her tiffin to one of the teachers, and that teacher just moved away. She moved her hand away, and she refused to even touch the tiffin or the food, just because she knew that, my mother, or this is a SC person. So when I heard these kind of stories, right, from my closed ones, from my family, from my relatives, from my neighbors, I used to be like, I don't want to face that. I don't want to be othered. And it also made me feel like my caste identity is something that I need to hide about myself. I wasn't I had no pride about it. Forget pride. Like, it was, for me, it was like something to be ashamed of. So even when I joined college, even though I ticked the SC in the college admission form, at the same time I was also afraid that my classmates would find out about my caste identity, and they would probably mock me for it. So due to the stigma associated with it, keeping my Dalit identity a secret was more like a protective mechanism. Guess I was closeted even in terms of my caste, but I think drag really helped me come out as Dalit.
That's so empowering. Thank you so much for sharing it. And I think, listening to conversations like this, somewhere or the other way, I feel very kind of proud of being or doing something which is like drag, because these are the conversations how an art form which doesn't have a structure in its own nature. Like, drag is only one of the art form which doesn't have a syllabus or a pedagogy of it, and somewhere or the other way becomes so empowering in sharing identities. So, kind of sharing stories about how exactly we're living in, and somewhere or the other way being connected with such an art form is something which I feel very pride of. And thank you so much for making it you know that space as well. I'll come back to my next question, which is about because the world is definitely kind of uh, becoming a space very intolerable for trans and non-binary individuals, or overall LGBTQI plus community. And we have also seen a lot of caste-based violence happening across in multiple regions of India, and that caste is also something not very much invisible in the US as well. Recently California Secretariat had added caste as a label to the discrimination policy. So initially, anybody who was doing caste discrimination was not being persecuted, but
Mhm.
last to last year they have added caste as a label to see if there is any kind of such discriminations, they would be persecuted as anybody who's doing a discrimination altogether. So with this kind of space which is kind of boiling out a little bit harder for individuals who are coming from multiple marginalizations. Art is the only way where they can look up and seek guidance or hope with. And do you think drag as a medium, can we use drag as a medium to kind of go ahead and challenge these challenges which we have in our society, and also use it as a space for having interfaith conversations?
So, I my actual name is Nikita Prakash Dowre. Um, there was a time when I actually dropped that surname. Also, probably to not let people know about my caste. To and today I am proudly owning the name Bloody Kamina, and owning the um connection of it with my faith publicly. I think it's there are a lot of commonalities between these two, and so if you see in the varna system also, there are five varnas, right? And the Dalits were not even a part of it. So just like in the heteronormative world, where the queers are excluded from the system, it's just like that. While growing up as Dalit, I was already pre-trained, I guess, in the society. I was pre-trained against the stigma, against the discrimination, against the othering that my community faced. But through all of this, I also saw a community fighting against oppression, a community that is taking pride in their identity, a community that is fighting for rights, fighting for equality. Like if you see, um, uh, the Buddhists, the Dalits, we 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 take pride in wearing the blue and white color. I also take pride in wearing my rainbow. So I guess my experiences, Dalit Buddhist, somewhere prepared me to stand up against my queer discrimination. I came out as a Dalit and I came out as a queer. And both are the journeys of identity, both are the journeys of community, and both are the journeys of pride.
Yeah, so thank you so much for sharing that. Um, Also, to just chime into the same conversation, hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
You're still there. Okay. I thought there was a disconnect. So I'll start the question once again. So thank you so much for sharing that anecdote, and I just want to kind of add another question, which we talk about, identities, and especially within the queer community itself. Even the queer community is sometimes very toxic to people from the marginalized caste, and especially if you are thinking about drag as a specific space, you see a lot of upper caste people holding spaces in drag as an as an industry as well. um, what should be one of these ways to kind of make it more homogenized across, so that we also have this conversation about representation and a more authentic way in drag, and be visible within the drag spaces as well? So what is that one thing which you suggest any of these spaces, or any of these people who are creating spaces for drag in India should be mindful of when they are curating a certain kind of an event or a space?
Yeah. So when I started my drag journey, like I mentioned before, I am uh, a minority within the drag scenes also, right? Like when I started my drag journey, literally I had no guidance whatsoever. Like there was no mentor. I didn't know how to go about things. I didn't know how to uh, put on my makeup. I didn't know how to even tape myself. In fact, even when I was looking up on YouTube and other social media platforms for inspiration, for references, I couldn't find any relatability, because there was no brown skin reference. The international drag queens also, they are very few, by the way. That it's not like they're very high in number. um, they were talking about products which probably would not even go with my skin color. So uh, I think from not knowing all of this to now being experimental with my drag, I think I've come a long way. But I remember when I initially started doing drag, like I was told by a drag queen that it takes more time for drag queens to do their makeup or get into their glam outfits, whereas expectations from drag king was just basic. And that actually somewhere pushed me to up my game. I went all out, from wearing a full Shensha style LED jacket to actually strapping myself with a mannequin on my chest. I also started being more experimental and started exploring more. So, yeah, the unfortunately, the pre-established scenes are as such that there are certain set of people who are getting more spaces, they're getting more visibility, um, and they are probably uh, expanding more, while there are so many more that can come in. Like I think ultimately, if as a community our goal should be to increase the representation, to increase the visibility, to bring in more voices. It shouldn't be a fight amongst ourselves, like I am owning this space and you can't come in here, it's my territory. It doesn't need to be that. Why can't uh, all of us grow? Why can't we dominate in numbers? Like all of us can own up spaces, and why does drag even need to be restricted only to the queer community? Like the art has so much potential. Like I think it is uh, this art is beyond, it's literally beyond anything. It is an expression of what you feel, and you as an individual can give it any shape and form, and art can be appreciated by everyone. So why can't we unite and own up more spaces and spread our representation and our awareness through this beautiful medium of drag, and use the art in the right way. And
Great. Yeah,
people
go
who
ahead.
have already gained their holding right now, or made that space for themselves, I think it is also upon them, artists like you and me, to foster this community or help this community grow further. Like I would love to see more drag kings coming in. Like after my first performance, there were few people who walked into me from the crowd, and they were like, looking at you, we felt like even we should do this. And I felt really happy about it. I felt like, wow, like this is the kind of impact I want to make through my art. I want people to join me. I don't want to be the very few drag kings in India. I would love to see more drag kings in India. And I would, uh, the more opportunities I get, I would try and pass on these opportunity and create more drag artists around me. And I think if every one of us who has made some space in this field, or you know uh, uh, if everyone starts thinking like this, it would definitely be a better place.
Indeed. So you also mentioned about drag artists, especially drag kings, and how exactly they're kind of creating nuanced approach. I have seen your work, and somebody who have known, like, who knows how to kind of at least put a decent makeup. When I see your work, I think you take a lot of time in creating and crafting and shaping it. It's incredible to start with, and I think you are one of these one of these pioneers of drag king scene in India, who are not only upping the game but defining and creating a structure for it, and that is something which is so beautiful. And somewhere or the other way, you have also inspired a lot of drag kings from Hyderabad. I know a couple of them who kind of basically saw your work and started doing drag in Hyderabad. So you have been that change maker and creating that kind of a space in this side of the country as well. So thank you so much for doing it, and creating that aura for people to kind of see and feel represented. So I have we are kind of going to the last question, as we kind of wrap up this episode. One of the question which I had is, what is that one advice which you would like to give to upcoming drag artists, somebody who might be having some kind of a conflict, either with their parents or either with their personal lives, because drag is something which takes a lot of time, effort, and it is an added advantage if you have somebody who's supporting. But I can, because I am privileged, I would start with, I have somebody who was able to kind of help me out in my family as well as in my partnership. But I know how exactly it would be even more harder. It's like a double burden for people who might not have that kind of a supportive environment. What would your message would be to those people, and especially drag kings or AFAB people kind of coming and pursuing drag, and how should they see drag as a way to kind of get out of such kind of a situation?
Hmm. So, like I mentioned before, drag, I think, is one of the purest form of expression. There is no structure, no definition that is, written about it. Yes, it is difficult, especially for AFABs. Like, um, again, even for a AFAB to step out in the night and go alone for a party or come back alone from a party, it is a huge deal for the family. Obviously, they have concerns about their safety and things like that. And the scenes that are right now for drag in India are mostly about performing at these square events. So it's not. I mean, that's how it has been structured. But you don't need to restrict yourself to that. Like, if you are someone who's interested in exploring drag, I would say just go for it. I mean, you can obviously reach out to me for whatever help you need, how to go about makeup, how to go about your costumes, or anything that you would need. I would definitely help you out. If you are, because of your surroundings, your family, or any other pressure that you are into, you're not able to actually go out there and perform. We have a beautiful medium, which is internet. Make the most of it. Like, use your drag, create your drag avatars, put videos out there. That will also help create more larger awareness. It will your one drag performance, which you would be probably doing at a show or a event, would reach out to what, max 100 to 100,000 people, right? But what you will put out on the internet will have a larger potential. It will reach out to people who probably have never heard of drag. It will probably start that domino effect, that more and more people will get exposed to it and would want to try it out. So yes, it would be difficult to practice it, But yeah, there's no stopping. Just go for it. I'm sure you'll find a lot of avenues, especially with internet and with social media platforms, to express yourself in the way you want to.
Great. So thank you so much for sharing that wonderful anecdote as well. And it was kind of say it was such a wonderful conversation which we both had for the past 30 minutes in this particular space. And thank you so much for agreeing to do this in a very short period of time. I know that I have been too much of a pressure with time and with dates. So I'm so sorry for that. It's just that
My pleasure. Honestly, my pleasure.
Great. So thank you so much for sharing and being a part of it. And to people who are listening to, I would add Bloody Kamina's Instagram handle to the Spotify link as well as to the poster, which would be posting it in Dragwanti. And please do go ahead and share a lot of love and a lot of support to their work. They are doing some incredible work, and I hope Bloody Kamina kind of comes to Hyderabad as well very soon. Let me
Good luck.
manifest this year.
I think it will happen in 2025 for sure.
Yeah, and I this is something which I'm manifesting this year to perform along with a lot of drag artists because that is very limitedly I was able to do in my past 5 years of an experience. I never had chance to share space with a fellow drag artist majorly, like it's very limited in one or the other way, but it's so nice to kind of share space because you learn so much of things from each other. I will still
Yes.
remember one of my performance which I did at Kitiko last year, I guess, or last year, I guess,
Mhm.
where I shared the space with Beyonce. And as a drag artist sitting in Hyderabad, I don't know how to treat or give the idea of hospitality to a drag artist who is traveling from other city. And this
Mhm.
is this is also because we are not taught about how exactly to kind of create that safe space, create that
Yeah.
family like an atmosphere when somebody is kind of coming from a different city altogether. And I was never like that. I was very into my head, and I was a very like before performance how drag queens basically would look like. So that is how
Mhm.
I was, and never did any kind of an effort to understand and seek support or kind of create that environment for everybody to kind of come ahead and have a welcoming space. So I went to Bangalore for performance, and the amount of hospitality which Beyonce kind of gave me, the amount of like I don't know, there was some switch psychologically which she has done, which
Mhm.
immediately eased a lot of tension, or eased a lot of skepticism when we go to a new place to perform or new people to perform. So that ease was something which was so helpful, and
Mhm.
which gave a lot of confidence as a performer. So I think that is one of the tricks which we usually know only when we meet another drag artist, or when we see them perform with you. Same with Jeesh. I was talking in one of the episodes, the first episodes which you have done. So Jeesh, whenever they visit any kind of a new city, they try to make an effort to connect with one local queen over there. Like literally
Mhm.
go ahead and have
Yeah.
communication or meet them in person. So that is something which I learned from Jeesh. So it's always this give and take space which is there within drag, and I think this year I'm manifesting more
I am
such
the
things.
best. I'm the best example of it. Like looking at Beyonce and Zeesh and
Uh-huh.
Karma's performance is why I'm Bloody Kamina today. Why I'm a drag king today. So yeah, I totally get what you're trying to say here.
It's a community which needs to take a lot and give a lot. I think the more we go beyond space of understanding, is more we kind of connect. And somewhere or the other way, this podcast has helped me in that as well, to connect with a lot of people. And it is helping me personally to kind of grow my hiccups with my belief and faith. So I think
Mhm.
yeah, thank you so much for for being a part of it, and thank you so much for making that effort to thrive this conversation. It really means a lot for us as a community. And to people who are listening to, please don't forget to listen to all the upcoming podcasts which is happening. We will be kind of ending the series on 31st or 1st of January. Yeah, that's a sad note, but hopefully you'll get a lot of content for you to kind of thrive for the next 1 year. So you can listen to all our podcasts every year, every day. Make our podcast as your manifestation goals. No, I'm kidding. But use it as per your needs, and I think that is something which you would always love to kind of come and share. And thank you so much, Bloody Kamina, for giving this time and coming and sharing these wonderful nuances.
Thank you so much, and Jai Bhim.
Jai Bhim. So that was a conversation with Bloody Kamina, and I know that this was a very powerful conversation which we had. It's definitely a lot of learning, as well as a lot of understanding of how intricacies work within queer identities itself. And this was again a story, as well as an experience which is which gives you a lot of space to kind of think, understand, and question the idea of how drag is a very powerful tool within this particular space of queer identities, and identities of caste and identities of representations, and how it can kind of change the entire course of how we see these identities navigate across the society. So I hope you had a very good time listening to us, and you can always reach out to us if you have any questions at pcsas number 3 at gmail.com, and I would be more than happy to kind of go ahead and listen to all your conversations, all your comment. And until the next episode, thank you so much and have a great day.